Less than 2 weeks into the new year, and relations between the ROK and DPRK are thawing. Pyongyang is sending a delegation to the Winter Olympics in South Korea next month, and severed military communications between the two sides have been restored. South Korean President Moon Jae-in says it's the beginning of a process that leads to everlasting peace in the region.
The ultimate goal of our diplomacy and national defense is to prevent a war from recurring on the peninsula. I don't want the immediate unification of the Korean Peninsula. My goal is to resolve the DPRK nuclear issue and solidify peace while I'm in office.
Meanwhile, President Moon downplayed critics who believe engaging with the DPRK undermines efforts to pressure Pyongyang to give up its nuclear ambitions. He did this by strategically describing South Korea's solid alliance with the United States in dealing with the DPRK.
I think U.S. President Donald Trump deserves big credit for bringing about the inter-Korean talks.
President Moon champions himself as the people's president, being elected in the wake of protests calling for the resignation of his predecessor. 8 months into his term, his approval ratings continue to hover in the 70% range. But more challenges await him this year on the foreign policy front.
Right now, I think he's at a critical juncture where the question will be what will happen on the Korean Peninsula after the Olympics. How will he navigate this very difficult terrain between two great powers, China and the United States? How will he manage relations with Japan as well as North Korea?
The president also touched on relations with Japan during his speech. He talked about setting history right and the principles of truth and justice in an apparent reference to a controversial settlement over Japan's sexual enslavement of Korean women during World War II. But he also said historical issues should be separated from diplomatic efforts with Japan in order to safeguard peace on the Korean Peninsula. Shane Hom, CGTN, Seoul.